17. However, as you can see, fourth quarter is where St. Louis lives. Look at these numbers they've racked up in 3 games. And in the Dallas game, 21 points in the final 2 minutes. Third down and about 4. Complete to J.T. Smith. Shakes loose from one man and moves to the 47-yard line of Washington. Monty Coleman and Todd Bowles pull him down.
Well, the Iron Horse making a big play. That time Dennis Woodbury in coverage. They come up. The Redskins fake the blitz. There's Monty Coleman. Now he's just in man-to-man coverage on Visekahema. Lomax reads the coverage. Smith pushes him up the field. Oh, but it's going to be brought back because of an illegal formation.
Troy Johnson, the culprit, and again, if there's been a story of the game for St. Louis, it's that most of the good things they've accomplished have been wiped out by mistakes.
Well, we saw it earlier in the third quarter. They'd stopped the Redskins on third down, close, backed up in their own territory, wound up with a penalty, gave them new life. Boom, wind up with a touchdown.
We got a real huddle going on down there with the striped shirts to sort this one out.
Third time the clock operator has been notified. They want to take the clock back up. It's at it was at 14:36, so they've given back 15 more seconds. Cardinals going to have to look into a new clock operator. That's
might put him on waivers.
That's, you got to be careful.
Third down and 9. Penalty against Troy Johnson. So again, Lomax being put in a spot here where he's got to come up with the big play. And now time becoming a factor as they trail 31-17. Cardinals have to keep the football, but the defensive surge of the Redskins, their 5th sack, dropping Lomax at the 21-yard line.
Oh, boy, you could hear that woof when he got hit. That's Alvin Walton coming in from the left side, just like a little small freight train. Lomax turned around, wanting to see what hit him.
Mann and Hamilton leading the charge. Kaufman right there. They really poured in.
You see him rushing off the field because the Cardinals go with a quick setup.
Greg Horn's punt taken by Yarber at the 35 of Washington. Good return by Yarber inside the 50. St. Louis territory at the 48. Washington leads 31-17. Back here at Busch Stadium, the Washington Redskins with 3 third-quarter touchdowns have taken the lead against the Cardinals. Gallery missing 2 field goals early on as the Cardinals had an opportunity to take a sizable lead. The struggling Redskins suddenly turned it on here in the second half. And Jay Schroeder, as I was asking you, Joe, right at the beginning of the second half, well, now things have not gone well for him in the first half. Will Joe Gibbs think about giving him the hook? He said no, he'll stay with him. And sure enough, like he has so frequently in the second half, Schroeder got it going.
Well, that's the one thing that Jay Schroeder has going for him. He may play 3 lousy quarters, but he can come out in 5 minutes or 1 quarter and make up the big difference. He has such great receivers, and just boom, 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 he's back in the game. And Joe Gibbs believes in that. Jay's proven it. As we mentioned, 9 out of 16 times his team has been behind. He's brought him back from defeat, from what could be possible defeat. So you got to go with the guy who can pull you out of the fire.
Well, on first down at midfield, George Rogers got about a half yard. But the Redskins starting following the St. Louis punt in excellent field position here, and things have definitely started to go their way. And the Cardinals are going to have to come up with some of their late scoring heroics to keep themselves in this. They trail 31-17.
And the Redskins still searching for that running game that they've been trying to find all year.
Play action, and Schroeder on a run.
Get out of bounds. See, he's maturing very fast, very fast. Take what you get and get out of bounds.
The 34-yard line, there's one quarterback telling another how to protect himself.
That's right. You want to stay in the game. Doug Williams found out if you don't play, the other guy may come in and do a good job, and then it makes it tough to get back in. Green Bay giving San Francisco a handful. Look at Indianapolis and Cleveland.
Pittsburgh beating Seattle today, real blow for the Seahawks. They fall to 7-5 in that very interesting AFC West. From the 35-yard line on first down, long count by Schroeder.
That was an audible.
And Rodgers dropped behind the line of scrimmage.
He might have thought about going to another play after he saw the results of that one.
Leonard Smith was blitzing, and he ran right into Rodgers when he got the ball.
What kind of a force is Joe Jacoby? There he is, second in from the left part of your screen. He is one big man. There he comes around the corner, and he says, who should I hit? Let me hit somebody. Let me hit, no, wait, hold it. I'm 315 pounds, I'm 6'6", and I couldn't find anybody to hit.
You would think a big guy like that had fallen into something.
Gotta be kidding.
Second down and 12 on the loss. Keith Griffin dives for about 4 yards. It'll leave 3rd and 9. Leonard Smith put the hit on him. It's the final score. We mentioned Pittsburgh over Seattle, and damaging blow to the Seahawks.
Well, I really believe they're still reeling from their last week's defeat to the Raiders. The Raiders had not been playing well. Bo Jackson just came in and did a number on them, and it's, you know, it's going to dampen their playoff hopes.
You can see Griffin favoring his Charlie horse. He took a shot there from Leonard Smith, and he is sore. Now remember, Kelvin Bryant is out of this game with injuries.
He is their only real third down back, so he's got to go.
3rd down and 8. Schroeder, and it's intercepted. Intended for Didier. Picked off by Travis Curtis. Curtis returns to the 36-yard line of St. Louis. The rookie makes his 4th interception, and he leads the Cardinals in that category.
You'll see Jay Schroeder going back in the pocket. Now, he said he has to really step forward and fire the ball if he's throwing comfortably. He throws that one and just doesn't really get a lot into it. He just goes up on his toe, but really doesn't come forward and throw the ball like he's capable of throwing. Now, Travis Curtis, he's from Potomac, Maryland, so that's a big play for him. Playing in front of what would be fans when he was young.
Sure, some folks from Potomac looking in today, watching the mighty Redskins here. The pass intended for the tight end Novacek, off target, and 2nd down. And an injury report on Art Monk. That's him huddled up over there. A sprained right knee. Will not be back in this game. And obviously a key loss.
Well,
somebody
it is.
like Monk.
They can ill afford a loss at the wide receiver position, because with the problems they've had at running back, with Rodgers not playing, Kelvin Bryant in and out, they've had to carry 5 running backs. Normally, teams will carry 4 running backs, 5 wide receivers. Redskins are only carrying 4 wide receivers, so it makes them very thin at that position.
On 2nd down, Lomax. That's complete to Roy Green to the 49-yard line of St. Louis. Hit there by Rich Malott. And the cornerback, Holloway.
Yeah, there you see the clock. You've got to be aware of what's going on the field. Lomax, of course, has performed his miracles the last few weeks in the 4th quarter.
I said cornerback Holloway. I meant Darrell Green, of course, number 28.
I knew that.
For Washington.
We knew that. No problem. No reason to
Down
explain.
to 49. Some Redskins fans might have missed a defensive pickup there. That's off the hands of the tight end Ewald.
That's what's known as a look of frustration. He says, come on, catch the ball. That's what he said to him right there.
Robert Ewald's been catching most of them out of San Diego State.
Has not dropped many.
Number 3 pick this year. Brought the tight end back into the Cardinals offense.
Of course, another San Diego State tight end, Donnie Warren, playing for the Redskins.
The drops have affected both of the quarterbacks in this game this afternoon. Schroeder back in the first half. Since then, they've been catching him for him. Little drop play to Wolfley, and Wolfley nowhere to go. And only about a yard. Wolfley, I asked him about replacing Earl Farrell. He said, you know, how can you replace Earl Farrell? He said, I just will try to bring what I can to the game, and, you know, that's a lot of intensity. I can't do the same things that Farrell can. And Neil Lomax acknowledges that Farrell is a key to this Cardinals offense. They're really going to miss him. He's gone for the year.
And, you know, Wolfley also mentioned with regards to Farrell, he said, I just want to play the best I possibly can because I want it to be a tribute to Earl. I want him to be proud of the job I'm doing at the position that he's unable to play at.
3rd and 9. They really need this one here. The Cardinals with 10:26 remaining. Lomax deep and incomplete. Diving try over there by J.T. Smith.
Oh, and he knew he had him too. See? Boy, sometimes, you know, quarterbacks, you know when you get a guy going up the field open. And there was one. You see the disgust. He's saying, gee, I had him. I know I had him. He's going to think about that one for a little bit.
Just about a yard too long. So the Cardinals will have to punt. And the Redskins now have assumed the dominance in this game. They've got a sizable lead. They're going to have the football. And 10-17 left to play. Horns punt into the end zone. Washington will start from their 20 when we return. Tim Ryan and Joe Theismann in the rain in St. Louis. Next week, our NFL action includes Dallas at Washington. Washington can clinch the NFC East with a victory here. Dallas looks like they're out of the wild card hunt, trailing Atlanta. Minnesota will be at Green Bay, and the Vikings very much in the wild card picture. The second game will have the Giants at St. Louis right here. Might be the last game for the Cardinals at Busch Stadium if owner Bill Bidwell decides to move his club after the season. On first down, Rodgers picks up about 7. Rodgers had 20 yards rushing on 7 carries in the first half, but Joe here in the second, 43 yards on 13 carries. So he's now at 21 carries in the game, and the penalty will be against St. Louis.
It's going to be on Nico Noga, I believe, for hitting Jeff Bostic. Well, that's what happens when you get a middle linebacker and a center going at it. Sometimes some feelings, but you see on the right of your screen, 53, Jeff Bostic going up against Nico Noga. Now Bostic, who's really come back and played well at center, he's down on the ground and pow! You just can't.
Whoa.
That's stupid.
That sure was.
I don't know how else to describe it. I mean, yeah, you get frustrated, but hit a guy on the side of the shoulder pad if you want to swing. You hit anybody in the helmets, they're just going to throw flags.
Well, you're also going to bruise your knuckles on the face guard.
They got so much tape on their hands. They wouldn't even feel.
First down. Rodgers.
Maybe it has some secret meaning in Tonga. You know, like way to go, how are you, hi. You know, maybe it's some type of a sign language. I think it's some type of sign language. Don't you block me like that again, I think is what it means. George Rodgers, you're going to see a smile on his face. He'd feel like he's finally come back and become a contributing part of the offense. Something he has not been a part of the last couple of weeks.
Well, he's gotten the ball the 20-plus times that he expected and wanted to have it, and he's grinding it out. Second down and 6. And, of course, the Redskins trying to take the time off the clock by using him on the ground. Here he is again. He's got a big hole this time. Now, that is the kind of running that Rodgers can do if you give him a little room to operate.
Well, also, you know, you got Freddie Joe Nunn, who's at 255, Mark May, who's listed at 295, probably closer to 300. And as the game goes on, the guy that weighs 30 or 40 pounds more than the other fella is going to become more dominant. You got May at let's say 300. You got Thilleman at 272 going up against Claspy, who's 260, and Nunn, who's 260. So, I mean, just as the game goes on, they're going to wear them down.
First down from the 42-yard line of the Cardinals. Rodgers again, this time only a couple. Got near the 40-yard line. I asked Rodgers last night about the comment made by Don Bro, the running backs coach, that George is a step slower, and he said, well, it didn't bother me too much. He said, hey, I was never a burner. You know, I never thought of myself as an absolute speed type. But he said, I can run fast enough. I just have to get the ball. They all say that, and yeah, understand it. Every running back feels they've got to develop a rhythm. You can't carry it 8-9 times a game and really crank it up.
And there's Keith Griffin on the sideline. Now, he's got a strained back, and he won't return. So the injuries continue for the Redskins.
Nearly picked off. intended for Sanders. Leonard Smith, number 45, knocked it away.
Well, the Redskins are doing everything they can to let the Cardinals back into the ballgame. They've had control. Same position on the field before, threw an interception. Now Schroeder just makes a bad throw. I mean, if the ball is thrown behind Ricky Sanders, Leonard Smith picks that off. I'll tell you something, he's gone. That's a 60-plus yarder. Put that one in the bank. They run a little crossing pattern, and he just flat throws the ball bad.
So it leaves 3rd down and 9. The time against the Cardinals. They're down 31 to 17. They've got to stop the Redskins here and make something happen if they've got any chance to get back in this. Schroeder will run it. And it'll be close to the 1st down. Freddie Joe Nunn tripped him up. Schroeder desperately diving for the marker as he was tackled.
Well, that's
close enough to go for it, I would think, if they choose to.
Now, that's how you can tell a team is really not got a lot of confidence in their passing game, is when they call 3rd down and 8s, 3rd down and 9s, quarterback draws. Yes, he wants to keep the clock running. Sure, they want to keep the Cardinal offense off the field, but you still got to be able to complete that pass if you've got any kind of confidence in your passing game. Redskins still struggling offensively. Had it not been for one big catch by Ricky Sanders, 50-plus yard completion, touchdown pass to Gary Clark, their offense still would be struggling.
They've got 4th down and a yard, and Schroeder calls timeout. And he will discuss this situation. They do not have the kicking unit on the field, obviously. He's going over to talk to Joe Gibbs. 6:37 remains. Washington 31 to 17.
Working to be the best they can be. Teammates, sponsored by the U.S. Army. For wide receiver Jerry Rice and quarterback Joe Montana, the 1987 season has been among the best of times. This touchdown tandem has combined to make life miserable for some of the NFL's best defensive backs. Thanks to each other, Rice and Montana lead the NFL in touchdown receptions and TD passes, respectively. Teammates Jerry Rice and Joe Montana, making each other the best they can be.
Alpha team, aggressor tank spotted.
In a battle drill, you need horsepower, firepower, people power. That's teamwork.
Moving tank, direct front, 2,000.
This team uses a computer, thermal sight, laser rangefinder.
Ah! Yeah. All that you can.
We win, the whole tank wins. The whole team wins, not just one person.
Find your future in the Army. This is the home of great basketball. The NCAA Basketball Championship. Smart takes the shot. Indiana wins the championship. Keith Smart is the hero. The NBA Finals. They're winning this at home against the team they want to beat more than any other. Because when you look for the champions of basketball, look to CBS Sports. Next Saturday, the season's premiere.
Well, if you're tired of sitting in traffic jams, and most urban types complain about that frequently, 60 Minutes may have the answer for you tonight on CBS. I don't know what the answer is. I intend to watch myself. Angela Lansbury stars in Murder, She Wrote, following 60 Minutes, and the CBS Sunday movie A Hobo's Christmas with Barnard Hughes and Gerald McRaney. Tonight, following our football activity on CBS. 4th down and a yard after the discussion. Redskins are going for it. The 33-yard line of St. Louis. Schroeder will run it. Hit right at the line of scrimmage, but it looks like he has it. Lonnie Young got the lick on him, but they have marked it a 1st down, Washington.
Well, the Redskins deciding that they don't want to take a chance on a handoff. They want the guy who takes the snap from the center to hang on to the ball and let them run with it.
Well, but you're talking about they didn't have confidence in their passing game on the last down. How about not having confidence in your running game on that down?
I'll be honest with you, I don't think they have a lot of confidence in the way the offense has performed. It's just come up with some big plays, but has really not shown much consistency. A fumble by the Cardinals deep in their own end. They get a score in close, a couple of big plays, but nothing really consistent. No play after play after play, pass after pass drives.
They've got a 1st down with 5:44, and Rodgers takes it inside for about 3. But the Redskins are still on the verge of clinching the NFC East despite their spotty play. Look at Indianapolis over Cleveland. And who would believe, you got to count in the strike games, I realize, but Indianapolis 7-5. That's as good a record as Cleveland's. One of the teams that people were talking about as a Super Bowl team. The Browns at 7-5.
And that trade really made the difference in that football team. Eric Dickerson playing indoors in a very constant climate, I think has given him a running game that is one to be reckoned with.
Second down and a long 7, we'll call it. There's Rodgers again, grinding it over the 25-yard line to the 24. Anthony Bell made the stop.
Well, looking at that, Houston's going to sneak up on Cleveland and move into a tie. Stay ahead, of course. San Diego slipping.
Well, and Pittsburgh is there. They won earlier. They're 7-5. That makes a 3-way tie in the AFC Central. Crazy season. Rodgers, meanwhile, has quietly approached the 100-yard mark. He's got 95, and he's got the ball again. Trying for the first down. It looks like he'll be close, but just short. Nico Noga on the tackle. Nico convinced that his younger brother Al is going to be an outstanding pro. He's a defensive tackle. He's about twice as big as I am. Noga goes 235.
Yeah, but I'll tell you, I don't think he has the, you know, his arms aren't twice as big. No. I mean, that man has got a set of biceps on him that just don't quit.
A lot of time in the weight room for Nico, and it's paid off. Now, they stopped him short by about a yard, and that brings out Haji-Sheikh. He'll spot the ball at the 30-yard line. 40-yard attempt, Schroeder will hold.
Randy Jones doing the snapping.
And it's good. It kind of limped over there, but it crossed the bar and dropped in good for Haji-Sheikh. So it is 34-17, and some of those road show Hogettes are celebrating on the far side. Their team is, as though they have done some things in an ugly style today, have virtually clinched the NFC East. Well, now Dallas losing to Atlanta today has pretty much taken themselves out of the wild card situation, and that opens itself up well to the Minnesota Vikings, because the Vikings at 7-4 could still catch Chicago. But if they don't, they're certainly in the driver's seat for the wild card.
Well, they play Chicago this week, so that's going to be an interesting one. San Francisco and, of course, New Orleans. San Francisco has to play the Bears in 2 weeks, so they can't afford to stumble with New Orleans playing as well as they are. You have to look at the divisional wins as well. There's their win today over Green Bay.
So New Orleans and Minnesota, like we said, you've got Minnesota sitting in good shape now, as are the Saints. And St. Louis, well, things don't look too good for them.
Well, Philadelphia losing, of course, against New York. Dallas lost. St. Louis looks like in less than 3 minutes and 43 seconds they can tie this up and take it into overtime. May lose here today. So it looks like your wild card teams may be set. What becomes very important to the Redskins now is home field advantage. They can't afford to lose a game if Chicago continues to win, as well as San Francisco.
Roderick Sargent had a little trouble picking the ball up, but then returned it very well for the Cardinals over the 45 to the 46, where Vernon Dean made the stop.
This happens so often on kick returns. Everything is set up for timing, and when the running back fumbles the ball a little bit, it throws all the lanes off that the cover team has to cover. You see a big pile of people, and he just avoids the pile. Now Haji-Sheikh again going to have to make another tackle, almost. Watch out. Don't get hit.
Lomax 18 of 32, 200 yards, but he will need some kind of heroics now with 3:31 on the clock. The short man is Wolfley. Wolfley dropped at the 50-yard line by Mel Kaufman.
The Redskins in what would be deemed a true prevent. Their secondary people back 20 yards plus.
Lomax eludes the rush, unloads complete to Roy Green at the 31-yard line.
You know, they can't back up too fast or too quickly. If they happen to turn the ball over, they can allow the Cardinals to sneak back in, as remote as it may sound.
And that's complete to J.T. Smith inside the 15 to the 14. Well, that turnover on the kickoff early in the second half was the real big play for Washington in this game, and that really turned it around, the 2 quick touchdowns.
That's right. Interesting thing here, Cardinals call timeout, 2:38 to go in the half. What's going to happen is they use it at this point to try and save the time on the clock. They know they're in throwing range, so they'll run 6, 7, 8 seconds off the clock, try and throw a couple passes. So the most it'll get to is 2:16. If they do score, kick the extra point, kick off, figure that the Redskins will then use the 2-minute warning will be an additional help to them. And if they can hold the Redskins on that first possession, they wind up at the 2-minute warning with the Redskins at second down. Then they can utilize their timeouts to make the clock stop and get them in position to be able to put the ball back in the end zone.
Well, they have had some remarkable late rallies, so who knows if they can figure out the mathematics of the clock as well as you just did.
I bet you're wondering what I said, aren't you?
You had me mesmerized.
I know there are a lot of people out there wondering, what did he say? Very simply, they used this timeout to save a little time on the clock. I think that was a capsule
I think
version
that's
of
how
it.
you started out with that
And
comment.
we'll leave it at that.
From the 14-yard line, Lomax having saved the time on the clock.
That's right.
We'll now have a first down and a chance to make a quick strike here. And Dallas has lost to Atlanta, 21-10.
Got to make Marion Campbell feel good.
Oh, boy. And Scott Campbell, his young quarterback, who scored a touchdown in that game. Lomax pumps once, and now going for Mitchell, who makes a catch, and is he in? No, it's incomplete.
No, it's a touchdown.
Well,
It
oh,
is
that
a
was
touchdown.
yes, it's a touchdown, St. Louis.
Yeah, way over in the corner, the official was standing. Remember, all he has to do is have possession as he breaks the goal line, which is the plane.
Well, I thought he was in, but it seemed to me the official was a little slow getting the arms up.
Right next to Neil Lomax on his left side is Stump Mitchell. And he'll come out of the backfield. You see him come out of the backfield and circle around. Now he's one-on-one with the linebacker. Lomax pumps once. Now watch. He makes the catch. He's in the end zone. Touchdown.
Yeah, well, the official is just on the edge of the screen.
Just
Can't see him
outside.
now. Was a little slow getting the arms up, but nonetheless, Mitchell, who has now made 2 tough touchdown catches.
I think what they're going to do is they may review this. I think the officials may review this, and I wouldn't be surprised if they change the decision on this one.
Well, they had to have possession.
That's right, and that's
in
the
the
one
end
thing
zone,
that's going to
feet
be
on the
questioned.
ground.
No, even if he breaks the plane in the air, even if he breaks the plane in the air with the ball, it's in the end zone.
Oh, I think he's already in the end zone.
Well, right here, see, but does
No,
he
he's
have possession of the ball? Does he really ever have possession of the ball? That's what they're looking at. He only has to have it for a second. There's the official to the right of your screen making the call.
Well, and he had a long look at that before he put his arms up signaling touchdown. And now we wait as Dixon Holman, the replay official, has a look at it. Well, let's face it, it'd be more fun if they count the touchdown.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm telling you, 2:33 to go. Like I said, the Cardinals call that timeout to save time.
I know Redskin fans that say, hey, we're not looking for fun, we're looking for a win.
That's right. That's exactly right.
If the touchdown counts, it's going to add a little more excitement.
And all 100 people in the stadium are booing. About all.
A lot of these folks have left, and there weren't a lot to begin with today.
It's very eerie to be in a stadium where there are not a lot of people. I got to be perfectly honest with you. It's the crowd really sets a tempo and can get into a game and really make a difference in the outcome. And you just don't have it when there aren't people.
Been a rainy, drizzly day. The Cardinals have had problems with attendance all season long.
This is my problem with the instant replay.
It takes forever.
It takes forever. You get these athletes all warm. It's like taking a racehorse, working it out, and sitting it down for half an hour before it runs the race. I mean, you just can't do it.
Well, let's remember, if it's inconclusive, the play stands.
That's right.
And,
How many times do you have to look at it, and how many angles do you have to look at it? I know, us, of course, doing the broadcast, you don't have that many angles, and the guy's only got 2 monitors up there. And they also know what we're saying, so that's good.
well, it hasn't had any effect yet, Theismann, I'll tell you that, because they're in no hurry.
Well, I know, but it's just...
Now a final, San Francisco over Green Bay. And meanwhile, the Eagles have clawed back against the Giants.
And there's a very important game, New Orleans against Tampa Bay. Of course, Tampa Bay in New Orleans. Tom Benson doing the Benson Boogie, and his football team boogieing right along with him.
Well, you know, I just heard a fan, because you can hear about everything in here, there's so few of them, holler up a little complaint about CBS. And, you know, this has nothing to do with us, as you know.
We want a total disclaimer. We have nothing to do with this.
The officials are looking at the series of replays they have at their disposal.
This is ridiculous.
From the pictures we provide to them, but...
yeah, he's not talking to us on the phone, I can tell you that.
Well, now they say he did not have possession over the goal line, and there is no touchdown.
You think he'll vote for instant replay if they ask the coaches?
Now, Gene Stallings is an unhappy man, as you might expect.
I don't blame him. Not that I'm disputing the reverse of goal. I just think that instant replay. Why have officials with stripes out there? Why don't you just put everybody in a booth upstairs and call it that way? Have one guy on the field with a microphone and referee it from up top.
I haven't changed my feeling about instant replay, which I have expressed here today, but I haven't changed mine from day one.
I have.
I think if the players can make mistakes, which they do, the officials on the field should have the same right to do their best. And if they make a mistake, everybody lives with it, just as you do with a fumble or a dropped pass.
It's been a great game for a lot of years under those circumstances.
Leave it to the humans. In any event, second down. In and out of the hands of Wolfley, and will leave third down.
Good pass by Neil Lomax. Just, you know, he's been plagued again. Both quarterbacks have not had their receivers hang on to the ball very well for him this afternoon.
Now, the rain has come again here in the last, for about the last half hour or so in St. Louis. And so the conditions down there are not super, but they're running in dry footballs, trying to keep them that way as much as they can. It'll be third down, just inside the 15-yard line.
Lomax standing on the pitcher's mound. Of course, Busch Stadium, the home of the St. Louis Cardinals.
That one is tipped and knocked away, intended for Green. It was Mel Kaufman, who's had another bat today, knocking the ball away.
Again, we talked about the fact that Lomax has hit a lot of underneath passes, crossing patterns to Green and J.T. Smith, as well as Stump Mitchell coming out of the backfield. So what Kaufman does is he starts a blitz. If his back blocks, he pulls up at the line of scrimmage, reads the quarterback's eyes, and jumps up. The pass is thrown low.
Washington Redskins, as we indicated at the top, and the record would indicate, clearly a better team overall in terms of personnel than St. Louis. But they'll still have some questions to answer, despite having clinched the NFC East. Intended for Troy Johnson, knocked down in the end zone, and that'll be it for the Cardinals. Todd Bowles got a hand on it, and Neil Lomax leaving the field in disgust as he's unhappy at the turn of events and saw the touchdown, what he thought was a touchdown that Mitchell wiped out.
Well, I feel sorry for the officials. They're out there on the field. They have to put up with all of the guff from the players and the questions from the coach. And it's not really their fault. Those men are trying to do the best job they possibly can. They make a decision, and it's technology that's screwing the whole thing up, not those guys with the striped shirts on.
So the Redskins will have clinched the NFC East in 2 minutes and 18 seconds of playing time, and that's what they've got left. They're at home against Dallas next week. Rogers stopped at the line of scrimmage by Bob Clasby.
This is part of what I was trying to explain before. If the Cardinals had gotten that score, they come back out now, 2 minutes and 12 seconds. They call a timeout on the field to try and get a possession back. So that's, you know, it doesn't play into the scenario they were hoping for because they didn't get any points on the board.
Now you're in a desperation timeout situation over San Diego. We'll have a three-way tie in the AFC Central.
And more importantly, a lot of people are thinking that Cleveland may be the best team in the AFC, so that's a big plus for Indianapolis.
Seattle lost today, and San Diego was losing, so that whole thing gets tightened up again. And Denver at 7-3-1. That 5-0 mark in the division less significant for the Broncos because they've got that tie on their record.
Yeah, but still, when you win 5, it works out pretty good.
Yeah, you bet. 2nd and 9. And Rogers running behind the left guard, plows his way. He's over the 100-yard mark today, and that's what he wanted. That's what Gibbs wanted from him. It took some time to crank it up, but he's at 105 yards on 29 carries. 2 minutes to play. Rogers. Lonnie Young trying to claw the ball away all the way up to the 50-yard line. Spent so much time trying to get the ball that Rogers was able to keep his feet.
Well, yeah,
first down at the 49.
This is going to be the best rushing day that George Rogers has had. Carried the ball 30 times against Buffalo for 125 yards. Now he's, you know, he had 29 carries going in, and with that pickup, he's at 134 yards. That's his best day. That's really what the Redskins have been looking for, is their big back, and he is the big back.
He only had 20 yards only had 20 yards in the first half. And at that point, we were saying, hey, the rushing game isn't here for the Redskins. But in the second half, a complete turnabout as the Cardinal defense broke down.
Well, having the Redskins get the lead that they did has allowed them to get back to their running game. They seem to get it late in the games. They haven't gotten it early in the game, so they have an opportunity to be able to sit on the ball.
Cardinals took the timeout here as they have one left. No, they just used up the last timeout.
Joe Gibbs just taking a big, deep breath. Finally, Joe Bugle with a smile on his face on the left side.
Washington should just plan on starting the game in the second half.
Yeah, show up about, you know, it's a 1 o'clock
halfway
game.
Through.
Show up about 2:30,
right.
and then hope they can, you know, carry it on. I mean, that's really the way they played. That's Chuck Banker. You see, congratulating. There's not a very happy man in Gene Stallings.
You know what I admire about this guy, though, the way he's handling this situation about the St. Louis Cardinals, whether they're going to be here or not next year. You ask him about how it's affected his team. He said, sure, it's a distraction, and people start wondering about selling homes and where they're going to relocate, if they relocate. But he will not point fingers or blame fans for not coming out. He says, hey, it's our job to go out there and entertain them as best we can, those folks that pay their money and come and see us play. And I think his attitude's been terrific. Of course, hardcore St. Louis fans hope that we'll be watching the Cardinals here next year. And they very well may be. There's been no decision made on the part of the owner, Bill Bidwell, although he is talking to other cities. And we're in the final minute as the Redskins are trying to just use up the rest of this clock, and they have become the NFC East champions. It took them a little while to look like divisional champions in this game, but in the second half, 3 third-quarter touchdowns, and they've just run away from the Cardinals, and they move to 9-3 on the season. Philadelphia in overtime against the Giants, trying to keep their wild card hopes alive. And that one ought to do it. 23 seconds and counting down, and the players start to head for the locker rooms, and Joe Gibbs might not be too thrilled with the look of this game, but finally in the second half, his better and more talented team asserted itself and picked up the victory.
I think the one thing he said last night that stands out and is really an indication of this game, he says this team has played hard but not good. And it was very evident here this afternoon that they have. They played very hard, but again, they have not played real good football. The strongest part of their game is defense at this point. Their special teams are improving, and their offense, I think, is still struggling for some consistency. The Cardinals, on the other hand, continue to move the football, but they get the bad breaks. They make a mistake that puts them in the hole, or they get a drop pass or a bad call, and boom, they wind up losing. There's Alvin Walton. There's a look at that little V, a little mohawk on his head. Tim, you look. Think about that, Timmy. That might be a good look for you.
Well, Joe,
What do you think?
I'll think about that for about a half a second. I just thought about it, and I've rejected it.
Okay, fine.
When you get to my age, you want to keep all the hair you've got, and I intend to do so. So, for Joe Theismann, I'm Tim Ryan saying so long from Busch Stadium in St. Louis. The final score, the Redskins 34 and the Cardinals 17. Stay tuned for the NFL Today post-game show. You've been watching CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League.
In 1973, a small bar served the first